أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي قصرت عن رؤيته أبصار الناظرين وعجزت عن نعته أوهام الواصفين الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين وأبي القاسم محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى وقوله الحق وهو أصدق القائلين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ومن يبتغي غير الإسلام دينا فلن يقبل منه وهو في الآخرة من الخاسرين صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات بإمام. Respected scholars, dear brothers and sisters in Iman, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Indeed, it is an honor to be back amongst you once again for this weekend of Majalis. Inshallah, tonight, with the discussion under the verse that I recited, we will have the Masaib of our second Imam. And tomorrow, inshallah, we'll have the Masaib of our Prophet, as I was informed. But the verse that I recited is from Surah Al-Imran, verse number 85, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses by saying, whoso desires a religion other than Islam, it will not be accepted from them, and that person وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ will be considered amongst the losers on the day of judgment. Now when you look at this ayah, a lot of time question would rise that, does that mean anyone who adheres to a religion other than Islam, that's it, they're done, and it's doomsday for them and nothing will happen, nothing will be, no choice will be given to them, and that is it? Is it shutting the door on everyone who adopts a religion other than Islam or follows a religion other than Islam? Once again, it is not you and I to decide who will attain the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and who will be entered into the paradise and who will enter into the hell. Yes, there are guidelines that have been provided to us. We know the path which is, quicker, the path which is the easiest of the paths, the path which is the straightest of the paths, but that's not denying that there are other paths that might not lead to the prosperity. With that said, you look at this ayah and you may raise this question that, is it shutting the door on other faiths? Does that mean Islam is it and there isn't any other religion? Well, according to our belief, that is the case, because Quran on numerous occasions talks about inna deen indallahi Islam, that the religion in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Islam. And that famous ayah, Al-yawm akmaltu lakum deenakum wa atmamtu alaykum ni'mati wa raditu lakum al-islam deena, and I have become radhi with this religion of Islam for you. So these verses do indicate the fact that yes, the only acceptable religion and the set of doctrine is with Islam. Nothing else will be accepted. And a person who desires a religion other than Islam, according to this ayah, وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ, they will be considered amongst those who are losers on the day of judgment. But there are other means and ways to broaden this nazariya, this viewpoint, as some of the mufassirin when they explain the word yabtaghi, they said the word yabtaghi comes from the root ibtigha, which means to research, means to search, to find, to try, koshish, sa'i, whatever you want to call it. And therefore, it gives you the meaning that whoso achieve or whoever receives this religion of Islam, and it comes to them, and after having seen it, and after having things have been made clear for them, and they still go in the denial, these are the people who are considered to be amongst the losers on the Day of Judgment. This sort of broadens the gap, or makes it a little bit more bigger, so that more people could probably enter into this daira, into this circle. And then there are a set of mufassirin, then they go even further by saying the word Islam is not referring towards the religion Islam. It is referring towards the submission towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as Hazrat Ibrahim and Hazrat Ismail, when they built the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they said, وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمُسْلِمَيْنِ, like, oh Allah, make us amongst those who are obedient, or those who are submissive towards you. So the word Islam over here may not be referring towards this set of laws, doctrine that you and I adopt and we follow and we practice. It may just merely mean that those who are submissive to the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you could be submissive even if you're not a follower of the religion of Islam. So these are different these are different opinions that have been given, of course, under the light of the guidance of Ma'asumeen, as far as this tafsir of this ayat is concerned. And that's why every single verse of Quran requires that in-depth analysis in order for us to understand what this ayah means. And we can't just merely take the apparent meaning of the ayah, because every verse of Quran pretty much has an apparent meaning as well as an implied meaning. And therefore that which is apparent, which is called the mantuq of the ayah, alongside with it you'll find mafhum of the ayat as well. So at point there are ayat in Quran which, if you just take the mantuq and the apparent meaning, it may not deliver the entire message. For example, in Surah Tawbah, I believe it talks about that do not stand on the grave and do not pray for those who have died ever. وَلَا تَقُمْ عَلَىٰ قَبْرِهِ وَلَا تُصَلِّ عَلَيْهِمْ أَبَدًا. Something of that sort, the nature of this ayat says, that don't stand. And therefore, you'll say, well, this is where, Wahhabis are correct in saying, don't stand on graves, don't pray for them. Well, you didn't finish the entire ayah, because it says those who have done kufr, don't stand on the grave of such individual. Don't pray for them, because they've done kufr in their life, and your prayers will not be any benefit to them after they have died. And therefore, there's no reason. But if you were to remove the word kufr, and you were to enter the word iman, we're not doing tahrif in Quran, but we're saying, if you were to take the word kufr out of there, and it would be replaced with iman, then the ayah would not say, don't stand on the grave of a mu'min and don't pray for them. No, it will all be allowed, because that's what the mafhum of this ayat is saying. Similar to where you find in Surah Hujurat as well, when it says, وَإِذَا جَاءَكُمْ فَاسِقٌ بِنَبَأٍ فَتَبَيَّنُوا. Whenever a fasiq comes to you with the news, ponder, contemplate, don't take the news right away. But if you were to replace the word fasiq with adil, then you don't ponder over the news. You take the news right away. So these are different occasions where you take the mafhum of the ayat of Quran alongside with the mantuq of the ayat of Quran. Salawat biji Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So coming back to the discussion of Surah Al Imran, verse number 85, Allah says, whoever and whoso desires a religion other than Islam, it will not be accepted from them. With this, we understand there are a few things that could be addressed. One is the word deen that is being mentioned in this ayah. Now, what is this deen? And what is the meaning of this word deen over here? And what is our duty towards this religion? That this deen has been emphasized so much. What is our duty? Is there certain duties that we need to perform as far as this deen is concerned? Or no, we just follow it and that is it? No, there are a few things that we will be held responsible. First and foremost, we realize the fact that this deen has not come to us, cheaply. There was, great sacrifice made for this religion to come to us. The fact that today we are the followers of this deen, we owe a lot to those who sacrificed their lives. Sacred blood was shed for it. Sacred lives were given for it. Calamities came upon the household of Rasulullah. And with that, this deen had come to us. And the whole movement of Sayyidul Shuhada and the tragedy of Karbala, for which we sit here when we commemorate, is one of the reasons why this deen is with us in the state that it is with us. And therefore, when it has come to us with so much struggle, with so much difficulty, with so much pain, then does that mean should we just take it for granted and follow it and that's it? Well, then there's more to it that we must perform as far as this deen is concerned. And usually this example works very well, that when you receive a wealth from an unknown source, first of all, there will be khums upon it because it's an unknown source. When you receive wealth from an unknown source and you weren't expecting, you did not work hard for it, let's put it that way, then it's how you spend it as well. Usually you end up spending it, you end up squandering that wealth, for example. You don't take it as seriously as opposed to the wealth that you have acquired by working hard for it. So the wealth that comes in with hard work, you will be taking care of every penny that you spend, how it's spent correctly, not, what is needed, what is necessity, what is not. All of these things will be looked upon, every dollar, every dime which is spent by, because this wealth has been acquired with hard work. But the wealth that came in without any work, forget about hard or easy, without any work, then it may just go out the same way. With that example in mind, this deen is also something should not be taken for granted because it has come to us with much difficulty, with much pain, with many sacrifices given in the path of this religion. And therefore it requires for us special duties towards it. First of all, we need to understand what the word deen literally means. Deen, if you were to pick up a dictionary, you'll find meanings such as compensation, meanings such as reward, meanings such as obedience. These are different meanings of the word deen that you'll find linguistically in the books of dictionary. But when you look at the istilah and the terminology of the word deen, what do you find? You find majmu'ah of qawaneen, a collection of rules and laws, a collection of aqaid, and a collection of beliefs. And the collection which will take you towards where? Prosperity. This is the istilahi, the terminological meaning of the word deen. With that, there are a few things that we need to look at, and as far as our duties towards this religion is concerned. Inshallah, this will be the five-fold discussion, 5 points about it. I broke it into 5 points so that it'll be easy for, especially the younger listeners over here to retain this and not forget as soon as you step out of the building. So usually we hear, we listen to the majlis, and then the moment we step out, then all of this sort of vanishes and goes away. That's why it's been broken down into 5 points, so that these 5 points, inshallah, will remain with our listeners. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. First and the foremost duty towards this religion is what? Is the proper recognition and marifat of this religion. Because if you don't recognize it, then you cannot get to the second step. And that's why Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam al-Muttaqeen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, alayhi salatu wassalam, in the very first khutbah of Nahj al-Balagha, in the very first sermon of Nahj al-Balagha, where Imam talks about the khilqat, he talks about wahdaniyat, he talks about tawheed, he talks about the creation of mankind. And I'm sure because it's the first khutbah, almost everybody has read this khutbah. When you get to the 10th or the 15th or the 20th or the 30th, that's when we have, maybe not. Or you don't recall it as much. But the first, usually people recall. So the first khutbah, very beginning, there's a sentence. Imam says, Awwaluddin ma'rifatuh. The first step of the deen is what? Ma'rifat of the deen. the recognition of the deen, proper understanding of the deen. Because if you don't properly understand this religion, then really, what could you expect from it? And therefore, it is a duty of every individual to study this religion. When a person such as Sayyid al-Shuhada, the status that Imam has, considered to be amongst, Sayyida Shababi Ahl al-Jannah, person who's considered to be Husaynun minni wa ana min al-Husayn, someone who's considered to be Inna al-Husayn Misbahul Huda wa Safinatun Najah, and many such ahadith that we hear from the mouth of Rasulullah, from the words of Rasulullah about Imam Hussein, goes out and sacrifices his life. Do you not think that when Hussein ibn Ali has such caliber, then the religion for whom he's willing to sacrifice everything, what is the caliber of the religion then? So you understand the value and the worth of things by looking at who is willing to sacrifice for it. If it was just any individual, then yeah, you would question. But Imam Hussein himself enjoys a very elite company. He's Imam of Ummat. He's the grandson of Rasulullah. He's considered to be Sayyid al-Shuhada, the master of those who've attained martyrdom. And many other riwayat that I just hinted towards without translating, because we've heard these riwayat many times. We don't need to translate these riwayat in reference to Imam Hussein. With that said, when a person like him embarks on this journey, and when he is willing to sacrifice not just himself, but everything that he has, and as well as his family members, then yes, this deen requires to be studied. This deen requires proper understanding. If you need to spend all of your life learning this religion, then so be it. Why? Because Hussein ibn Ali sacrificed for this religion. So from here you understand the value and the worth of it. That's why Imam said, Awwaluddin ma'rifatu. Make sure that you recognize this deen. Make sure that you have proper understanding of it. Because without proper understanding, you will not be able to take that second leap, that second step towards it. And that's why I said, ad-deenu shajaratun. Deen is shajara. Asluha, the original and asl and the roots of it is what? Is fiqh. Therefore, fiqh is important for us all to go ahead and dwell into, understand, and pay attention at least to that area which is related to us. Yeah, there might be ahkam in fiqh which we may never come in contact, or will never have to face. Therefore, you don't need to worry about those things. But those things which you will be mubtala bih, that you will be encountering, make sure that you have proper understanding of it. I'll go through it very quickly because these 5 points, otherwise if I start explaining every single one of them, it'll take forever. Second is taslim kamil. That first part became the ma'rifat of the religion. The second part is complete submission towards it. Taslim kamil. In fact, that riwayat said, ad-deenu shajaratun wa asluha taslim wa rida. The deen is this tree, and the asl and the root of this deen is what? Is taslim and rida. Is the submission towards this religion. Should not be like those individuals that Quran hints towards by saying, أَفَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِبَعْضِ الْكِتَابِ وَتَكْفُرُونَ بِبَعْضِ فَمَا جَزَاءُ مَنْ يَفْعَلُ ذَلِكَ مِنْكُمْ. That don't be like those people who say, well, we believe in some parts of the religion, but at the same time, we do not believe in certain parts of the religion because it doesn't make sense to us. And so what is the jaza of a person who acts in this fashion? I don't know if the story is true or not, but there was a group of people, the followers and the muqallideen of Ayatollah Burujardi, and they said, to the marja taqleed, that we will do your taqleed 350 days of the year, but the 10 days of Muharram, we will not do your taqleed. Because there are certain things that you have said we should not do, and we're not going to follow what you have said, and therefore we'll refrain from following your ahkam in those 10 days. So we'll just do your taqleed for 350 days, and 10 days spare us with that. And so, right away you start questioning some of the, and that's as far as marja is concerned. But even outside of that, things which are apparent to us, things that have been mentioned in Quran which are easily understood, a lot of time people have hard time understanding them. And forget about understanding, believing and practicing it. I'd say, well, it is better that you practice something even if you don't understand it. With understanding, it's better, definitely. But even if you don't understand it, the fact that it is hukm of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just follow it while you're doing your research to find out if it's, true or not. Instead of not practicing it altogether, saying that it doesn't make sense to me at the moment, and later on, it will only bring regret to you. The example of keeping a spare tire in your car. So, well, I'll never have a flat. I'll never, run into that issue. Well, keep it just in case. What if, you had a flat, so at least you have a backup. But if you never, then you don't have to worry about it. Similarly, it should be at a better scale. Look at the ahkam of deen. A lot of people say, well, it doesn't make sense that it is haram for men to wear gold. It's okay for women to wear gold. Why is it haram for men? What's the difference between men and women? Well, once again, if you don't understand this thing, just still refrain from it because it's hukm ilahi while you continue doing your research. And if you get to a conclusion one day, tell us as well about it, as to what that conclusion is. But nonetheless, you have done what? You're muti of Amr Mawla. You have followed the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you have not been disobedient servant to it. So that's why, that's what it is. أَفَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِبَعْضِ الْكِتَابِ وَتَكْفُرُونَ بِبَعْضِ فَمَا جَزَاءُ مَنْ يَفْعَلُ ذَلِكَ مِنْكُمْ. That those who follow some parts of the book and then they deny some part. It says, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ ثُمَّ لَمْ يَرْتَابُوا. Mu'min is only that person who believes in Allah and His apostle, and then ثُمَّ لَمْ يَرْتَابُوا, and does not have any doubt as far as the commands and the teachings of Allah and this Rasul is concerned. So there were people in the time of Rasulullah who started doubting some of the judgments of Rasulullah, some of the decisions of Rasulullah. The ayat came down saying, not for a moment should you doubt what Rasulullah has said to you. Salawat biji Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So that's the second part of it. First is ma'rifat of the deen. The second part is to be completely submissive towards the commands and whatever is being asked from us. Number 3 is to be able to, propagate this deen. It's not just the duty of ulama. And we famously hear that when the zuhur of the awaited Imam Mahdi ajalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif will happen, first thing that Imam will do is, chop off the heads of certain ulama. Well, it does not mean those who are sitting on the mimbar in particular and wearing amama for that matter. No, it means ulama in general, whoever has ilm. So that means people, included yourselves, could be part of that as well. Why? Because do you not have the knowledge of deen? Yes, you do. Do you not know the ahkam of, prayers? You do. Do you not know the ahkam of fasting? Do you not know these ahkam? All of these ahkam, you have the knowledge of it. Yeah, the person who has more knowledge, he'll be held responsible more so than a person who doesn't possess as much knowledge. And that is, apparent from the riwayat from our Prophet as well. In one of the riwayat, Prophet said, an alim would be one alim would be forgiven before 70 juhala are forgiven. 70 juhala will be given a free pass before one alim is given a free pass in Qayamat. Why? Because they did not know, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be easy and lenient with them. But because this one person knew, and that's why his hisab kitab will be that difficult. So we'll say, we'll remain ignorant. Wouldn't it be easy tomorrow? We'll remain all jahil and ignorant so that tomorrow our hisab kitab is easy. No, just also look at, on the contrary, the reward of someone who possesses this knowledge is also, very difficult for us to understand. So don't remain in this ignorance. Keep on pursuing, keep on studying, and keep on attaining this deen. And therefore, propagation of deen is, falling on every single one of our shoulders as well. And don't become like some religions or some religious figures who say, well, we don't need to, advance our deen. It's not for the sake of demographically increasing the numbers of Shia in the world, no. It's not that, you're trying to make the Muslim population and the Shia population, for example, to be maximum, and that's why you're going around and doing da'wah. No, it's for the sake of, bringing them out of darkness towards light. يُخْرِجُونَهُمْ مِنَ الظُّلُمَاتِ إِلَى النُّورِ, that you recite in Ayat al-Kursi, that to bring them out from darkness towards light, isn't that enough of an, enough of your ability or enough of incentive for you to go ahead and tell this, or to go ahead and provide this knowledge to others, so that you're able to bring them out of darkness towards the light? At least for that sake, go ahead and propagate this religion, but you got to go back and backtrack. Awwaluddin ma'rifat. If you don't have the ma'rifat of the religion, then you will not be able to propagate. Second, if you don't completely believe in something and you're not taslim kamil towards it, then once again you'll have hard time and difficulty propagating this religion. Because if I can sit here and give you wa'az and advice not to do this, not to do this, backbiting is haram, lying is haram, this is haram, that is haram, but at the same time I'm committing all of those crimes and I'm also perpetrating those things, then it will not have that sort of effect on you. So therefore, all of these things go hand in hand. Number 4, we're going through it very quickly so that we can get towards, inshallah, a little bit about our second Imam, Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salatu wasalam as well. Number 4 is the defending this deen and defending this religion. That is also our duty. But once again, you got to backtrack. You got to have the proper knowledge. You got to do taslim kamil. You got to be able to propagate before you can go ahead and start defending this deen. If you don't know the difference between halal and haram ourselves, then how is it possible for us to stand up and defend this religion? A lot of time, this deen is under scrutiny, sometimes from people within our own circle and sometimes from outside world. When it is from within our own circle, there are many things that are coming about these days. And there's so many things that we need to tackle these days. So much stuff is being said from the minbar that where do you draw the line? How do you go ahead and say, well, what is right, what is wrong? And then these days, with the advent of social media, things that are being forwarded through WhatsApp and other means of social media, as much as you try to stay away from all of these things, but you have to sort of stay in as well, just to find out what is happening and what is being said, so that you're not completely ignorant of what is happening. The other day, I heard someone obviously sent something, and there's this, dhakir or alim, whatever you want to call it, sitting on the minbar reciting a majlis, and he recites this ayah from Surah Hajj, which says, ذَلِكَ وَمَنْ يُعَظِّمْ مِنْ شَعَائِرَ اللَّهِ فَإِنَّهَا مِنْ taqwa al-qulub, that whoever honors the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it will cause increment in his taqwa, or it will be the cause of taqwa in that person. Let's just keep the translation simple. He's recited that, and the point that person is trying to prove is that, look, pay attention to the ayah. Ayah is saying, when you honor the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not Allah himself. So honoring the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will increase taqwa in you, not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is being propagated from this minbar. That namaz is not going to increase your taqwa. Fast is not going to increase your taqwa. Hajj is not going to increase your taqwa. None of these things can increase your taqwa. Because it says, those who honor the signs, and then from the signs he somehow brought it to Ahlul Bayt. There's nothing wrong in that, because Ahlul Bayt are also cause of increment of taqwa. But to go out and prove one thing, ithbatu shay, laysa, is not going to be the denial of the other thing, right? When you prove one thing, it's not that it's automatically denying the other thing. So right away he's saying namaz cannot increase your taqwa. Fasting cannot increase your taqwa. Hajj cannot increase your. These are not the things that will increase your taqwa. It's the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so he had his own explanation. But it's so contrary to the teachings of Maktab Ahlul Bayt, so contrary to the ayat of Quran for that matter. Right away I can quote 3 ayat in front of you which are otherwise saying to us what this Zakir, what this Alim was saying. And this is a Shia member, Majlis Hussaini, in which this is being mentioned. Maybe they have not read these ayat. It says, Inna salata tanha anil fahshai wal munkar. Salat does what? Keeps you away from fahsha, indecency, wal munkar, and from evil. What is taqwa? Taqwa means to stay away from burai. Taqwa means to stay away from evil. That's what namaz does. Yeah, if your namaz is not doing that for you, that does not mean namaz has any fault in it. That could be the case, that namaz is not keeping you away because your namaz has khalal and naqs in it. Someone said, how do we understand our namaz is accepted in the bargah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Well, the moment you refrain from indecency and evil, that would be the day your namaz is accepted in the bargah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. But if you continue to be evil and you continue to be indecent, let it be known the salat is yet to be accepted in the bargah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's as far as salat is concerned. It does increase your taqwa. What are you talking about? And then fast. Maybe you have not read this very famously recited verse every time Ramadan comes about. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba alaykumus siyamu kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. Fast so that you become what? Muttaqi. Yeah, the fast that you and I perform may not be giving us taqwa. That's not the case when it comes to, fast of other individuals. So there's nothing wrong with fast. It's the way we are fasting that we're not attaining the level of taqwa. But fast, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, fast so that you may become muttaqi. What are you saying? That honoring the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes you muttaqi, but Allah himself does not. Namaz does not make you muttaqi, or fast does not make you muttaqi. And then lastly, he said, Hajj does not make you muttaqi. It says in Surah Hajj, لَن يَنَالَ اللَّهَ لُحُومُهَا وَلَا دِمَاؤُهَا وَلَكِنْ يَنَالُهُ التَّقْوَى مِنْكُمْ. One of the actions of Hajj is Qurbani. It says the flesh and the blood does not reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That which reaches Allah is what? Taqwa from you. So one element of this entire Hajj is increasing your taqwa. Let's just imagine what the entire Hajj would do to you. So yeah, namaz increases taqwa. Fast increases taqwa. Hajj increases taqwa. Zakat, khums, amr, nahi, all of these things will increase taqwa. But unfortunately, some individuals have made their way onto, member, and they start saying these sort of things within our circles. So that's from within we have issue. And then from outside we're constantly fighting. We're constantly defending the deen. People come up and say, Moulana, our Christian counterpart said to me that you have such ayat in Quran which says, kill these infidels until they're submissive. Run after them, slain them. So what is this Quran talking about? I thought this religion is a message of peace. This book is a book of peace. What are these ayat doing in this book which says, run after these infidels, slain them, kill them until they're submissive? Now, I don't see any peace in these words. Do we have these ayat in Quran, Maulana? Well, unfortunately, yes, we have these ayat in Quran. Why do we have these ayat in Quran? Well, then don't ask why we have these ayat in Quran. It's sad enough that your Christian counterpart is telling you that these ayat exist. You should have known this from yourself. Studying this book from the very beginning and studying the translation and the tafsir of it is a duty of every single one of you to go ahead and teach. What was that hadith says? One of the, that إِذَا مَاتَ ibn Adam, or rather one of the signs, one of the rights of a father towards his son is what? It says, يُحَسِّنْ اسْمَهُ يُعَلِّمُهُ الْكِتَابِ وَيُزَوِّجُهُ إِذَا بَلَغَ. One of the things is to teach him the book, not just to send him to college and university and say, well, I'm paying the highest of the tuitions. Now I don't have to worry about teaching him anything. No, it's your duty to go ahead and teach him the book. And this is the book that we are referring to. Not when he starts learning this book when he's 5 or 6 years old and finishes Quran when he's 9 years old and then puts this Quran away because there was a competition to finish Quran as soon as possible. So that my child finish at the age of 9, my child finish at the age of 8, my child finish at the age of 7. So, it is a matter of pride for me. And that's it. Turn this Quran off, close it, and put it away like we evolve. By the time child turns 15, he's starting all over again. Can't even read the Quran properly now. And then, at least if he opens at the age of 15, that's still ghanimat. But sometimes they don't open until it's very late. So the point is, we have these ayat in Quran that run after these infidels, run after them, slaying them until they're submissive. But there's context of revelation. There was a treaty that was breached, and after that, Muslims were attacked, and you don't need a religion to come and tell you when. You need to defend yourself. Defending yourself does not require a religion to come and say, well, you need to defend yourself. No, someone comes barging down your door, you have all the right in the world to go ahead and defend yourself. And that was the circumstance in which this ayat was revealed. Cutting it short, bringing back to the point, is that defending this religion is very important. It's duty of every single one of us. Imam Hussein sacrificed everything that he had in order to go ahead and defend this deen. He said, if the hands of my brother Abbas may be sacrificed, so be it, as long as this deen survives. If my 6-month-old will be martyred for it, so be it, as long as this deen survives. If the veils and the chadars of the women of this household who never stepped out of the house unnecessarily is snatched and taken away, so be it, for the sake of the survival of this religion. And lastly, I won't have time to go in the details of it as well, is to, stand up against the inhirafat that are being infiltrated into this religion. It's sort of related to the previous point, so I won't go in further detail. Inshallah, tomorrow night I'll have more time, and I can elaborate on this last point as well. But these, brothers and sisters, are at least 5 things, there could be more, that are duties that are essential for every single one of us. وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِ غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا. So what is it? First is the marifat of this deen. Second is to be completely submissive towards it. Number 3, to propagate it. Number 4, to defend it. Number 5, to get rid of these inhirafat, these deviations that have made them their ways inside our deen. Keep it simple. The way it was brought down, the way it was propagated, the way we have learned from the real source. And amongst those sources was our second Imam, Imam Hassan Mujtaba alayhi salatu wasalam. Imam's life is very unusual in a sense, the timing in which Imam alayhi salatu wasalam lived. That we find he's an individual who enjoys that same status as Imam Hussein does, because he's one of the Sayyida Shabab Ahl Jannah. And so many riwayat from our Prophet as far as Imam Hassan is concerned. And then Imam Hassan himself, it says, Prophet said, لَوْ كَانَ الْعَقْلُ رَجُلًا لَكَانَ الْحَسَنُ. If you can embody aql, it would be Hassan ibn Ali. If you can embody, if you can imagine aql to be in a body, it will be Hassan ibn Ali. Husn khulq of Imam, how he treated individuals and people around him. The saddest part is that still in history people think that Imam Hassan, na'udhu billah, was afraid of fighting. That was not the reason. If you study the history properly, you find that Imam sent so many battalions to defend against Amir Sham. So many people. Once Imam sent a person from the tribe of Kind, and Imam said, he will betray me, but I'm sending him anyway. Just so that the point is proven. He went and he was bought by the enemy. Right away he left with his family members and companions. 200 people left, 4,000 were sent towards Muawiyah. Then Imam sent another person from another tribe. Imam said, this person will do the same thing. He said, no, Imam, I will not do the same thing. I confirm and affirm, but Imam said, no, I know this. He goes and the same thing happens. Again, 4,000 men were sent with him. That man also was bought by the enemy and could not defend. Imam himself then goes. But nonetheless, this was the time when people left Imam. In fact, to the extent that they start calling him that he's become kafir. That he's become kafir. And this was the saddest part, that when Imam had returned to Medina, after the sulh that was made, Imam had returned to Medina, a person comes to, and this is the time when Imam ﷺ had already been poisoned by the enemy, because he knew that as long as Hassan ibn Ali is alive, it still will to continue to attract people towards himself. And Medina was vulnerable from that aspect. Sham being so far away, it'll be very difficult for me to keep an eye on. Therefore, it has to be something that has to be done for Hassan ibn Ali. Fearful that their government will not survive. Yes, the treaty was made that he will go ahead and he breached the documents. But nonetheless, in order to go ahead and put his son in the realm of Khilafat, right away he has to do something with Imam Hassan, because Imam Hassan will do revolt as soon as he goes ahead and does something like this. So then he goes ahead and hires someone to deliver poison to the wife of Imam Hassan, Jorda bint Shas, to go ahead and poison Imam Hassan. We find the saddest part is that after Imam Hassan was poisoned, a man comes to see Imam and he says to Imam, कि इमाम आपने हमें दुश्मन के सामने गुलाम कर दिया, इमाम आपने हमें दुश्मन के सामने रुसवा कर दिया। इमाम ने कहा, मैंने कैसे रुसवा कर दिया, मैंने कैसे तुमको गुलाम कर दिया? कहा, इमाम हम दुश्मन के सामने आंखें नहीं उठा सकते, आपने जिस तरीके के मुआहिदे दुश्मन के साथ किए, अगर आप जंग के लिए खड़े होते तो यकीनन हम आपके साथ थे। फिर इमाम ने उसको तारीख़ के वो औराक पलटाए, उसको सिखाया, उसको बताया कि नहीं, अगर तुम तारीख़ को उठा के देखो, वो ज़्यादा वक्त नहीं गुजरा है, किस तरीके से मैंने कोशिश की थी दुश्मन के ख़िलाफ़ खड़े होने की, और मैं अभी भी खड़ा होना चाहता था, लेकिन उस तमाम लोगों के बिट्रेयल, उन सब लोगों का ख़यानत करना बाइस बना कि मुझे इस काम से दस्तबरदार होना पड़ा, और जो कि बेहतर था उम्मत के लिए, उस काम को अंजाम देना पड़ा। बस इमाम ये अल्फाज का बयान ही कर रहे थे कि एकदम से इमाम के मुंह से खून के कतरे नमूदार होना शुरू हुए। शख्स ने देखा कि इमाम खून से मुंह से खून जारी है, कहा एक तश्त को ले आओ। तश्त को लाया जाता है, इमाम के खून के कतरे मुंह से निकल के इस तश्त में गिर रहे थे। इमाम कहते हैं, मेरे जिगर तक जहर के आसार पहुंच चुके हैं, ज़्यादा दिन तुम्हारे दरमियान न रहूँगा, ये मेरे जिगर के टुकड़े हैं जो टूट टूट के निकल के आ रहे हैं और इस तश्त में जमा हो रहे हैं। एक दफ़ा इमाम हुसैन करीब आते हैं, इमाम हुसैन पूछना चाहते हैं कि कौन है इस सब के पीछे, लेकिन इमाम हसन ने वसीयत कर दी कि हुसैन कोई खून खराबा नहीं होगा, ए हुसैन मेरी वसीयत ये है, ए हुसैन मेरी वसीयत ये है कि मेरे बाद से ये नहीं होगा, ये नहीं होगा। इमाम ने एक एक करके वसीयतें की हैं, और जब उन तमाम वसीयतों को कर दिया तो एक दफ़ा इमाम को आवाज़ सुनाई दी कि बहन ज़ैनब आ रही है। इमाम ने हसन ने कहा कि हुसैन भैया ये खून के कतरे साफ़ कर दो, यहाँ से इस तश्त को हटा दो, मैं नहीं चाहता कि ज़ैनब की निगाह इन खून के कतरों पे पड़े। मैं कहूँगा मौला हसन आपको इतना गम है कि ज़ैनब आपके खून के कतरे ना देख ले जो आपके मुँह से निकले हैं। अरे कल करबला में भाई का लाशा देखेगी गिरते हुए, जब उसके हुल्कूम पे खंजर फहराया जाएगा, अजरुकुम अल्लाह, खुदा किसी गम में न रुलाए। बस आखिरी दो जुमले और आपकी जहमत तमाम। बस वो वक्त आता है कि इमाम इस दुनिया से कूच कर गए, इमाम की शहादत वाक़ होती है। सही कहा है कि इमाम या तो शहीद होते हैं या उनको जहर दे के शहीद किया जाता है। बस इमाम हुसैन की मज़लूमियत का अंदाज़ा कीजिए कि इमाम उस हालत में इस दुनिया से रुखसत हुए कि उनकी खुद की ज़ौजा ने उनको इस जगह तक पहुंचाया। बस इमाम की वसीयत आखिरी ये थी कि मुझको मेरे नाना के पहलू में दफनाया जाए। इमाम हुसैन भाई के जनाजे को लेके निकले हैं। इमाम हुसैन ने कोशिश की है कि रसूलुल्लाह के पहलू में दफना दें, लेकिन एक दफ़ा तीरों की बारिश होती है, यहाँ तक कि 70 तीर इमाम के जनाजे पे फेंके जाते हैं कि जो कि दोबारा इमाम के जनाजे को खून आलूद करते हैं। कुछ रिवायात में है कि दोबारा से गुस्ल दिया या दोबारा से कफन को तब्दील किया गया, यहाँ तक कि इमाम हुसैन रसूलुल्लाह के पास से इमाम हसन को जनाबे फातिमा बिन्त असद के बराबर में ले जाके जन्नतुल बकी में दफन करते हैं। मैं कहूँगा मौला कि आप पे मुसीबतें पड़ी, अरे आपके ऊपर तीर बरसाए गए, लेकिन कम अज कम हुसैन मौजूद थे इनके जिन्होंने आपको गुस्ल दिया, कफन पहनाया और आपको दफनाया। लेकिन इमाम हसन कहेंगे ला यौम का या अबा अब्दुल्ला, ए हुसैन जो मुसीबत तुम पे गुजरेगी, अरे शहादत के बाद से 3 दिन तक लाशा जमीन करबला पे रहेगा।
दूसरा वाहसने सब्ज कबा बेखता मारा गया, सिफ्ते रसूले दूसरा वाहसने सब्ज कबा बेखता मारा गया, सिफ्ते रसूले दूसरा वाहसने सब्ज कदा। जहर से टुकड़े जिगर खून से कफन लाल हुआ, वाहसन सब्ज कबा बेखता मारा गया।